Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Rogers. We're here at Transwest Truck Trailer RV. Today we're going to be doing a 2026 Winnebago EKKO 22A. So this one just came in recently. It looks like they're doing a limited edition of that boho red interior that they used to do way back when the EKKOs first came out, because it's not on the order forms if you want to order one yourself, so you kind of just got to find what's on the ground. So the Winnebago EKKO is Winnebago's adventure vehicle. So all of them are designed to be under 25 foot long. They have a lot of lithium, a lot of solar, and are pretty off-grid capable vehicles. So we'll go ahead and start in the front of the vehicle. So this one's going to be on the Ford Transit chassis. So it's going to be a 3.5 liter twin turbo EcoBoost. You'll have all-wheel drive, and it'll be a gasoline engine. So one of the differences between this and the Mercedes chassis is it actually has a little bit larger of a fuel tank, and it's got more horsepower and torque than that Mercedes. So a lot of people that do some cruising, more so than off-roading in the EKKOs, this one is definitely a better cruising vehicle. You will still have all of the same creature comforts that you have on the Mercedes, as far as the safety features. So you'll have adaptive cruise control, active lane assist, you have wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, and a much bigger display screen in there to see what's going on if you want to use like the built-in nav and stuff like that. So we'll work our way around the sides of this one. This one was equipped with the selenite paint job, or I think it's called carbon on the Ford version. So it's going to be painted to match the body, the cabin chassis of this vehicle. As we work our way around, you'll see a lot of the doors, the compartment doors, all of them are extremely thick. So they don't put a window in the entry door just for insulation purposes. You'll have a nice thick baggage door. You'll have a lock and a deadbolt, but then you'll also have a screen door here. So the screen door does have the normal screen on the outside to keep bugs out, but it's also the metal mesh on the upper and lower on the inside. There's metal plates here instead of the plastic pieces that you get on a lot of other RV screens, but there's also a little deadbolt on the screen door with keyed entry too. So if you want to keep your windows, screens, everything open at night, get a little bit of ventilation, you can do that while still keeping the vehicle secure. You'll have an electric double step just to make sure it's nice and easy to get in and out of here. Your first large compartment, so there's a couple different options, there's another option that you can do in here. So we ordered this one blank just for the extra storage capacity, but you can get a little outdoor kitchen that you could probably see in some of our other videos. So in here, you'll have hot and cold outdoor shower, you'll have access to some of your low point drains, and it's also heated and closed under here. So that little black vent off to that right side in there is making sure that you get the cabin air in there. Just so everything stays climate controlled. So this compartment, we'll use it to reference just because it's easier to see. You can see how thick they make each of these compartment doors. They're cut out of the actual sidewalls of this van, just so you can go deeper into that cold climate. The latches that they use are positive latches, so when you rotate it one way around, one turn, it rotates the lock, and then when you rotate it the rest of the way, it actually presses it in. So that makes sure it's a nice and tight seal around the bulb seal on this. So you'll see that on all of the compartments on the outside. So next little spot's out here. It's going to be a 12-volt plug and a little cable outlet. So if you wanted to put an outdoor TV out here, you can. There's also 2 outlets for 110 power. The Truma AquaGo is going to be for your continuous hot water. So it's only using propane whenever you're using hot water, or you can set it to eco mode during those colder climates, and it's just keeping that tank warm and the water more ready to use. The compartment below this is going to be for your 2 20-pound propane tanks. So they are your standard grill tanks. So if you need to go exchange them, bring a couple extras, get them filled, you can do that. Winnebago choose to option it this way just so you don't have that hard fixed chassis mounted tank on there where you have to go to designated fill stations, truck stops, or that couple campgrounds that you go to. Down below that, you'll have a little propane quick connect if you wanted to bring your own little outdoor grill. So a lot of people will buy EKKOs instead of your traditional B van just because you get a lot of exterior storage as well as interior storage, and they aren't much bigger. So this gear hauler garage is kind of what the EKKO is known for. So you'll have your ram tracks down on the bottom, and you also have them mounted to the ceiling. You'll have 3 ways to open this compartment, so the rear and both sides of it. There's 12-volt power here, there's 110 power, there's lights in here. You have the connects, so you can use the tie downs on there. They give you a rubber mat, just so it makes it a little bit easier to clean, keep everything in place. And they do have the MOLLE panels mounted to the doors. There's a very strong aftermarket support for Winnebago EKKOs, so if you wanted to go get more modifications done to them, you can. We do have a few service customers that come in that have done some extreme things to the EKKOs, and they do look pretty cool. While we're at this corner, we'll go ahead and look up at the awning. So right now we have it out just to demonstrate it and give it a little bit of shade to keep the inside cooler. So you do have the armless awning mounted there. So it's mounted at the upper portion of the sidewall. You'll have an LED strip built into the end of the awning, so you can actually use it as a patio light at night without having the awning out. And it does have a little wind sensor in it, so if it starts shaking, it'll close itself up. And it's also a one-touch awning, so you just hit, retract or extend, and it will open and close itself when you don't have to sit there and hold it. So the last thing on this wall that we'll cover is going to be this little block here. So this block is going to be for the blind spot monitoring, just so you're not, when you go to switch lanes and stuff, you'll get those same warnings that you do in your car. On the rear of this, you will have a ladder to get onto the roof. So on your roof, you're going to have a digital antenna, you're going to have your AC, you'll have a max air fan, and you'll also have 455 watts of solar. So that solar is tied in directly to all of your power systems, because you do have a very large lithium battery bank on this one. So. On the rear, this is going to be your easiest compartment door to open. So if you've had those left and right doors closed for a while, those seals will kind of like almost glue it shut. So you'll want to open this rear door, reach in and just push one of those side doors open if you're having a difficult time pulling them open just from the little knobs. So the last couple things on the rear of this coach are going to be, you do have a reverse camera, so that's always on whenever you're in reverse and backing up. I think you can turn it on at low speeds as well. You do have backup sensors that they mounted into the bumpers, so you'll have that reverse warnings down here, and then you will have a tow hitch down underneath. So the tow hitch is rated for 5,000 pounds, and you do have the 7-way plug already built in. So if you wanted to put a cargo rack back here or tow a small trailer just for any of your toys or anything, you can do that as well. So now we're going to get to the utility side of the motorhome. So over here is going to be a lot of like your water and your electrical stuff. So the first thing we'll cover is just the other side, the other view of that rear garage. This one is going to be your water bay. So in here, it's going to be your freshwater fill, outdoor shower, your Nautilus system to direct where all your water is going, if you're dry camping or not. You will have a vent in here designated for this water bay just to keep everything nice and warm. You'll have your gray tank dump down here, and then also a little port for your city water, so you can run the cable up through or your hose up through and still keep everything enclosed. So the bottom portion of this is all plastic, so if you ever get any mess or anything down here, you can just rinse it out with a hose and not have to worry about it. So the next little couple things that we'll see right here, this is going to be the vent for the fresh tank. As you're filling it, it's got to push the air out. There's an external solar port, so if you want to add suitcase solar and increase the solar intake of this unit, you can, or if you park under trees, you can bring that suitcase solar out, set it in the sunshine. You'll have a 30 amp smart plug here, so it'll light up green if you have good clean power, and it'll also indicate a fault if there's any kind of dirty power or anything wrong with the cord. This will be your vent for your Truma Vario. So your Truma Vario is going to be controlled on the same panel as that Truma EKKO, and it's going to be for the heating of the system, and that does run off propane as well. So out here is going to be your cassette toilet. So you do have a very large gray tank, a very large fresh tank, and then a 5-gallon cassette toilet. So they opted for this because it's a much easier system to insulate. You can buy extra cassette toilets from our store or online if you choose to have anything. You can take it, it's got a little handle like a suitcase. You can bring it to a porta potty, toilet, anything like that, so you can empty it out. But a lot of people that are buying these are going to be up in the woods somewhere, so you know, they're great outdoors. So under here is normally where your generator would go if you would opted for a generator. So this specific one we optioned with the larger lithium package, and to do that you have to do a generator delete. So it just becomes another little storage bay. It is all metal in here, so if you want to stick anything in here that's, you know, gross and you don't want to get in your other compartments, you can do that. The next bay is going to be another important bay. So you will have your 2 batteries. So on the Ford, you get 2 320 amp hour lithium batteries when you option that battery upgrade. So you'll have 640 amp hours total. In this compartment as well, you'll see you'll have some of the insulated foil down here. You'll have Winnebago's blue anodized aluminum in here to help, you know, radiate the heat inside. And on this right side, you'll also have a whale pump. So that whale pump is mounted below the shower, so it can pump that water straight back to the gray tank. Because in this one, your fresh tank and your gray tank are both inside, and they do that so you can use this in the colder climates. So another form of protection that they do in here is have a designated heat vent just for that whale pump, and it'll also help, you know, maintain the temperature of your batteries as well, because lithium only operates in certain temperatures. So we'll cover a couple of the driver things in here since it's easier to access. So fuel is going to be right behind the driver door, so you will have to open the door to uncover this little lip, and then you can open it freely. You'll have your windows, locks on the door, your mirrors are going to be over here, headlight controls, cup holders are going to be placed throughout. Lane assist controls are going to be on the left side of the column, and steering wheel controls are going to be up there. And there's going to be a few more controls mounted throughout the dash. So they are both captain's chairs, and they do come with booster seats. So once we get inside, you'll see the passenger side. I have it already turned around. Okay. So that's pretty much going to cover it for the exterior of the Ford EKKO. So now we'll cover a few of the interior things on it, just so you can get a brief summary of it. So as you're walking in, you'll see a couple different things. The flooring in the EKKOs is going to be like a high-grade patio weave. It's very easy to keep clean, get stains out of, and just manage. It's a very strong flooring system, and they realize people that do these are going to be adventuring outside and spending and the possibility of tracking things inside the motorhome. You're going to have a little bit of control panels here and up above. So you'll have light switches here, your coach batteries here, step switch here, and then your awning light and awning controls are all going to be right here. And then throughout the coach, you'll see a few of these vents. So again, that's for the trim of aero. You can close them off if you want to have warmer or cooler areas, depending on what your needs are and what time of year that you're camping. All right. So inside, up above, right in the door, you're going to have your other set of controls. So the top one's going to be another way to turn your inverter on and off. Right below that's going to be your solar controller, so it's going to show battery voltage and also the status of your batteries and what they're at. Down below that, you'll have access to turn your water pump on, your coach battery, as well as your chassis battery. You'll also have be able to check the levels of your fresh and gray from here, as well as the temperature of that bay. So you can make sure your tanks are not going to freeze if you're doing any of the colder climates. So we'll start with the kitchen area on this. So with the boho red interior, you're going to have the red countertops, and you'll have a little bit of red stitching in the seats and the bedding. So in the kitchen area, you will have a cabinet up here. They're gonna have hinges up here that helps keep it open, so you're not just having to sit there and hold it. They'll do felt lining in some of the cabinets, and they also put these little felt stops, so it helps eliminate the cabinet rattle whenever you're driving down the road. You'll have a microwave up above. Down below, you're gonna have a gas cooktop. It's gonna be 2 burners. Again, pulls off of those 2 removable propane tanks. And then you'll have a sink with a sink cover and a residential sprayer. So, behind the kitchen, we're gonna demonstrate this window. You'll have more of these types of windows throughout. So you have 4 latches all the way around it. They do have little props so you can adjust the height of the window that you want. It does have a built-in screen, so if you want to keep the bugs out or block a little bit of that sun out, you can. It also does have a built-in nightshade. So with these windows, it has another cool functionality where you can lock it in the center there, and that way you have a little gap to the outside, so you're still getting some fresh air or venting moisture, just so you're not creating condensation in the motorhome if you're sleeping in here. Down below, you'll have 2 outlets right here, and then you'll have a few storage cubbies. So nice big drawer here, a little bit smaller of a drawer there, obviously to make room for that sink. You'll have a few of the remotes located in there. You'll have a cabinet down below the cooktop. There's also a water filter in here. And that's going to be it for the kitchen area. Now if we move over to the driver's side up here, you'll have a little pantry here with a couple adjustable shelves, so you can take these, move them however you want, just by pushing them in, sliding it up, and then getting it level. You have a little cubby that you can set stuff here. You'll have 2 3-point harness chairs, so if you're one that wants to travel with kids and have like traditional seating or actual car seats, you can mount those in here. You'll have a foldable table here, so to drop it down, you just push a little lever on the bottom, and then it does lay down and sit there, so you have plenty of room on here. So this is going to be a little bit more safe than in traveling in the Mercedes, because the Mercedes only have 1 3-point harness and then 1 sideways lap belt. So depending on what your preferences are, you can do that. Up above here, you're going to have a very large compartment with a nice little brace in the middle, just so it can support more weight. You'll have all of Winnebago's owner's manuals. We just keep them up there. Again, felt-lined compartment. You'll have an insulated blanket. So the insulated blanket is going to connect to all these button snaps, and that'll block off the front portion of this motorhome. So if you're doing colder climates or hotter climates, and you want to block off all that glass, because that's going to be your single pane glass, because it's all the chassis portion. You can conserve either your propane or your battery life by not trying to maintain the temperature in there. So you'll have outlet, USB, and 12-volt up here, and that'll be on both sides of this little cockpit area. So one over here, one over here. You also have a little overhead light. We optioned this one with the entertainment center, so that's going to be a TV with a sound bar. You do have a Blu-ray player located up here, and there's going to be a cable, HDMI, another outlet up here. So whatever your entertainment needs, you can do there. You'll also have another little curtain here that you can put behind the cockpit areas. So like when these chairs are turned around, there's little Velcro snaps going up towards the front, so you can hang this behind it and, again, block that off. And then another thing that you can do just for insulation purposes is they provide the window shades that you can put on the windows themselves. So you can conserve as much power or resources as possible for heating and cooling, and extend your camping trips whenever you have it like that. So the captain's chairs, we talked about turn around. So they do turn around like this. If you're a shorter person or not too tall, you can use this booster seat just so you get your, you don't hit your head on top of this whenever you're turned around. For that chair, you do have a little foldable table right there. So I didn't lock that all the way, so it slid down. You'll put it on this stand. You can adjust the height by locking that up and down. And you can have a little designated table for the passenger over here, or if you turn the driver's side around, you can have 3 people using that larger table that we saw. So we'll just set that down here for now. All right, so we're gonna switch, Jody. We'll cover the bathroom, the fridge, and then the back of the motorhome, and then we'll cover the chassis last as always. So in here, it's still a wet bath like you get in the B vans, but it's definitely optimized for the space that the EKKOs have to offer. So right now it's set up to where it's toilet and sink mode, so you'll have a little mirror in there. You'll also have a sink, you'll have an opening window, and again, there's a screen and blackout shade in there, and then there's gonna be a little cubby up above. You will have an outlet when it is flipped like this, but whenever you convert it to shower mode, it's gonna protect that outlet so you don't have to worry about moisture in there. So to switch it to shower, you're just gonna grab this whole wall and rotate it all the way around, and then it turns into a very large shower. So I'm only about 5'9", 5'10" on a good day, and it makes a lot more room than you get in the B vans. So taller people can get in here. If you need a little bit more room, you can remove the bamboo cover down there. That'll give you another inch or so. You do have a curtain in here just to help protect the wall and the woods and stuff, but it is all plastic lined in here, so you don't have to worry about the actual wall. Over here, you're gonna have your fridge. I believe it's 5.3 cubic foot. You're gonna have a couple shelves for the fridge portion, and then a little chest freezer up above. So if you wanna stick ice cream, a couple freezer meals up there, you can. Not a whole lot of stuff, but you can do that. That's the whole point of kind of the gear garage or that front compartment. If you wanted to bring your own cooler or the 12-volt coolers that are out there now, you can do that just to get even more space. So this next spot, it's going to be another more of your controls really. So the top one's going to be a Truma controller, so you can control the furnace temperature through that, and you can also set up your water temperature through here, and then you can also the last one's going to be a fan mode. That's just going to be for circulating the warm air through the unit whenever you're using your furnace. You can have it where it's on, always on, or timer and stuff like that, just so you're keeping that warm air moving through the coach, especially if you're going to use this for skiing and stuff. Down below that's going to be the AC control for up above. It is a fully ducted AC. It's 13.5, and it is designed to run off the battery in the inverter. So again, we don't have a generator on this unit, and we have the AC going. We could have the microwave going, and all of your outlets have power too. So you can kind of set it up how you need, and it does have a power management system to where it'll shut things off as it needs to if you're pulling too much power from other sources. So the first things that we'll cover are going to be a couple storage compartments. So right here, you're going to have one on the left and right side. They are both hanging wardrobes. So if we lift the beds up, you can actually see the hanging on both sides. Let me move that. There we go. So you can see from up above, you can see the hanging. You can see a couple little accessories that Winnebago sends you, but you also have easy overhead access. So while both of these up, you can see the tops and a little bit more storage in here. So there is 2 pull-out drawers right here. You can open them to get larger things in and out, or you can open them like this just to get the drawer. So you can do that. While we're under here on this passenger side, there's going to be a cubby in here that you can stick valuables or anything like that back there. Because the only way you can get to that cubby is if you have the bed up, and you have to know that the bed lifts up to be able to get back there. Alright. So now when you have this back here, you do have 2 large twin beds in here. This black piece also will double as a nightstand. So it is plastic and flat right here. There's 2 little rings and a centerpiece and another ring there. So you could use it kind of as a nightstand if you want. We don't take the plastic off just so the new owners can take it off. And then with that boho red, you can actually see all the different red coloring on here. So you can make this into a queen bed. You wedge this down in the center, and then you can sleep sideways. So then you're taking advantage of the whole width of the motorhome. So for your taller people, this is the orientation that you would want to sleep. But if you're a shorter person, the twin bed style is fine. So back here, the last couple things that you cover is you can actually see the AC here. If you want to ice box this back area out, you do have the central dump there. It does get loud when you do that, but you can cool off that bedroom area very, very quickly if you decide to do that. You'll have outlets, USB and 12 volt in the center. There's a little cubby drop down if you want to run the wires through. There are reading lights on both sides, so you have the blue to be not so intrusive, or you have the white light if you want a little brighter. You'll have, again, cubbies on both sides, and then this driver side cubby will have another outlet, more USB, and another 12 volt plug back there. So plenty of power back here in the bedroom if you need it. All right, let's see. So on this wall back here, you can't really see it a whole lot, but there's gonna be another outlet and a cable outlet. So if you wanted to mount a TV to this rear wall, you can do it. There is bracing for it. You can put a little small bedroom TV back here, again, based on whatever entertainment purposes that you need. So the last thing that we're gonna cover is gonna be the Ford chassis features. So this doesn't ding at us. I'm just gonna turn this around and make it a little bit less noisy for the video. So that's one of the safety features with the Ford, is when you do have that chair turn around and you even put it in accessory mode, it will start dinging at you a lot, and it's very annoying. So there we go. So now that we have the engine turned on, it's going to be anybody that's ever driven a newer Ford or a Ford Transit chassis, you'll be very familiar with it. So you have the large infotainment up here. You're going to have automatic climate controls, so you can kind of set it up however you need to. You'll have different modes for traction based on it. The hazard lights are going to be up here. You have USB charging and 12 volt charging. You'll have your standard gear shifter, as well as manual mode down at the bottom, and the gear selector is going to be on the side of it. So if you want to shift up, shift down, you can do that. You'll have lots of storage and cubbies up above, and again, more USB, more USB-C, and more 12 volt up here. On the steering wheel, or the column itself, you're going to have windshield wipers on the right side. You'll have turn signals and active lane assist on the left side. On the steering wheel, you're going to have your menu controls over here to the right, push to talk all on the bottom portion, adaptive cruise control settings on the left, and then volume controls down on the bottom on that side. So with the display, there's quite a few options that you can do in here. It can be set up to where you have the GPS up at all times, and then the Ford portion set up. One of the cool things that is unique to Ford is you can still have the Ford system going on half of the screen while you have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay going on part of the screen. So you can still see what's going on with the vehicle itself, and not just have like a total screen takeover that you get in a lot of vehicles whenever you're using those systems. The Ford does have a lot of power in it, so if you're doing a lot of mountain driving and stuff, you'll be able to maintain those cruising speeds and not slow down a lot. A lot of our porters, whenever we're transporting stuff back from Grand Junction to our Fredrick location, they definitely prefer driving the Ford Eckos over the Mercedes whenever you're having to do a lot of mountain traveling. So it's just, a little bit of personal experience there for that. But that's going to cover it for this Ford EKKO. If you have any questions regarding Winnebago EKKOs or anything else that we have on our lot, feel free to contact me. My name's Justin. My cell phone's 404-936-6215. My email's justin.rogers@transwest.com. I'll see you in the next one.